We all know that Biden has now pardoned Hunter. That's not new news. But the question that we have to ask ourselves is, where does this hit? Where does this fall out at? Who suffers as a result of this? Let's deep dive.
The Biden Justice Department has been politicized. That's the message this morning from not just Donald Trump, but from President Joe Biden himself. The president issuing a full and unconditional pardon to his son Hunter after repeatedly insisting in public that he wouldn't do it. And to defend his decision, the president adopted an argument that could have come straight out of Donald Trump's playbook. Blame your political opponents and claim unfair persecution. President Biden said this, quote, "The charges in his cases came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election." The president adding, quote, "No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. And that is wrong," end quote. President Biden pardoning his son not just for the gun crimes for which he was convicted and not just for the tax crimes for which.
Ain't they beans and greens? You notice that too? See, I always like to source from different platforms to make sure that I'm looking at it objectively. I look at Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, all of them. And I look at even the local stations and stuff like that. Now they trying to sound neutral. We all know it's been a liberal magazine, a liberal left-leaning platform, but now they trying to act like they objective and we're going to hold Biden accountable. Get out of here.
Which he pled guilty. Instead, Biden gave his son an extraordinarily sweeping pardon for any and all crimes he committed, may have committed, or even merely been involved in at any point in the last 10 years. That broad language, unlike any in recent history and reminiscent only of President Gerald Ford's pardon of Richard Nixon for, quote, all offenses against the United States, end quote, that the former president had or may have committed during his entire presidency. Trying to explain his decision to Americans, President Biden made a personal appeal. He said this, quote, "I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision," he said last night. Understand? Americans might, though they'll have to be forgiven for thinking that all of this was off the table.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
You see what the problem is? Do you see what the problem is? This is July 27th, 2023. This is when this video was. And then you could tell that she was lying because she hurried up and answered the question and she immediately went over to the next question. This is where the problem lies, is that they spent the majority of their time trying to influence the election and convince people of one thing when they was living a completely different life. This is where the problem lies.
I just said no. I just answered.
When would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear and I said no.
You said before that the president would not pardon his son. Is that still the case?
Nothing has changed. That is still the case.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
I could speak.
But you see where this is becoming a problem? Because the internet is forever. See, if this was 1996, this might make sense because, we wouldn't have content creators. We can't control the media, and we can't determine how people remember things and then do a mashup. But it's a little bit different now because you got him on camera multiple different times. You got Karine Jean-Pierre on camera multiple times. You got everybody that's around him saying, no. No, listen. We are going to abide by the law. We're going to go with whatever the jury decision is. We're not going to interfere. We're not going to do no pardons. We're not doing none of that. This is why it's a problem. This is why it's an issue. And we knew he was lying. But y'all tried to make it seem like, oh no, these people are the ones that's in the president's office. They deserve to be there. But what else you lying about? What else was you involved in? Why did you pardon him from 2014 all the way up until 2024? Why that specific time frame? Nah, I really don't trust. I don't trust you as far as being a part of the military-industrial complex. I don't trust you when it comes to this migrant crisis. I don't trust you at all now. I don't trust you at all. The minute that you lose the trust of the people, you then need to basically you need to hand over the reins because you're no longer capable of making an impartial decision that's on the best behalf of the people, which is what you've sworn yourself into office to do. I agree, Denise. Anton, we got parents out here with children in jail on the same stuff and unable to pardon their kids. Do as I say, not as I do.
For the president, and he said he would not pardon his son.
Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Well, it stood until last night. Joining us now, Saleha Mohsin, senior Washington correspondent for Bloomberg, Isaac Dever, CNN senior reporter, Megan Hayes, former director of message planning for the Biden White House, and Brad Todd, Republican strategist and CNN political commentator. Welcome to all of you. Megan Hayes, look, many of our viewers have gotten to know you, but you really do know this family. You worked inside this White House for a very long time. Can you help us understand how they got to this decision? Because I have to say, I've talked to some people who thought the president wouldn't get there because he was concerned about his legacy. Obviously, something really changed.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I didn't actually think he'd get there till much later in the last couple months of his term. But I do think with some of the nominations that Trump has put up, I think it probably caused a little bit of worry for him. But also, I think people have to remember the president has lost 2 children already, and he does not need to lose another one to more political, witch hunts that the president's calling them. He worries about Hunter going to jail. There's a lot of things wrapped up in this. But I think at the end of the day, the president made a decision as a father to keep his son out of jail and out of harm's way moving forward.
Just to pick up on something you said at the top of your answer, you think the selection, for example, of Kash Patel played into this decision?
I think that some of these nominations that Trump has been putting forward and leaving this in the hands of other folks, I think is worrisome to the president. I mean, President Trump and Kash Patel have said they're going to go after their political enemies. They're going after retribution. I think that Hunter Biden has been seen as the person that they've gone after many times, and I don't think the president's going to leave that to chance when he leaves off.
No. You're not going to gaslight me. This ain't got nothing to do with going after enemies, political retribution. Nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, believed that he was not going to pardon his kid. Nobody. We all knew that he was going to pardon his kid. Wasn't even a doubt in our mind whatsoever.
Office. He again does not want to lose another son. He's lost 2 children already, and he does not want this to go on any further once he leaves office.
Isaac Dever, what's your reporting kind of behind the scenes on how this came to be, but also, I mean, we have seen some Democratic reaction already criticizing the president for this. I mean, we saw a tweet from the Colorado governor, a Democrat, Jared Polis, saying it's bad precedent that could be abused by later presidents. Congressman Greg Stanton said, I respect President Biden, but I think he got this one wrong. And then Joe Walsh, who is a former congressman, Republican congressman who's become a Trump critic, he was on MSNBC. He put it this way. Let's play it because it's kind of a succinct way to look at it. Take a look.
So the next time any of us complain about anything Trump does, this pardon is just deflating. Nobody's above the law, we've been screaming. Well, Joe Biden just made clear his son Hunter is above the law.
Yep.
Donald Trump lies every time he opens his mouth, we've been screaming. Joe Biden repeatedly lied about this.
Yep.
The politicization of the justice system, Donald Trump and his people have been screaming. Well, that's exactly what Biden said here.
Does he have a point? And what are you hearing from other Democrats?
Absolutely, you got a
This
point.
is the kind of thing that does breed cynicism in people, and it's that cynicism that in part Donald Trump plays off of in making the moves that he does when he says, look, it's all rigged against everybody. The Justice Department is politicized, right? And now Joe Biden has said that. His Justice Department under his administration was what was pursuing these cases, was what had gotten the guilty verdict in the gun case, and we were waiting for the sentencing in this tax case. That's an issue for Joe Biden to face now, when he has put himself forward not just as an opposition to Trump, but as someone who is standing on principle and on norms and on keeping in that way. I do.
Listen, Molly is absolutely right. Everybody is in survival mode and don't care about their legacy no more. Joe says, I'm old and we going to let the dead bury the dead. But here's a couple different points that I want to make. I believe, number one, this is about gaslighting. I believe it's about gaslighting. I believe that they were saying what they were saying about Trump because they were trying to deflect from the issues that they have within themselves. 100%. Because this is the thing that we see that he was forced to be accountable for. We all knew that Hunter Biden was never going to jail, but see, him being forced publicly to humiliate himself, and his son is very much the one that just proved that the gaslighting is real, is what makes it bittersweet. That's A. Number two, I think that Joe Biden don't give a flying freak. I hate saying it. I wish I could say the right thing, but this is a Millionaire Morning Show. Joe Biden don't care about the Democratic Party. That's my opinion. I do not believe that Joe Biden at this point in his life actually cares about what happens to the Democratic Party. Once they pushed him out, he didn't want to quit. He pissed at Nancy Pelosi, and then they started blaming him for getting out too late. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Joe was mad. Joe was aggravated. He don't like what happened. He not happy about him. And I think that he burning that entire party down. I don't even think Joe agree with most of the stuff that went on with the party. Just a few years ago, he was talking about marriage was just between a man and a woman. And next thing you know, he had Billy Porter dancing with him on the White House lawn. I think that Joe got bullied. I believe that Joe got bullied. Joe was forced to go along with the left-wing nuts and the Democratic agenda. And so now he said, you know what? Hold my sack. Watch what I do now. You was against me. You was against me. You blaming me for the party. Honestly, usually what happens is the party, the OGs of the party is supposed to be the ones that shepherd in the next generation. There is no shepherding of the next generation. They gonna blow the whole party up. Eric D believes that the Democratic Party is still intact. I don't. I believe that the Democratic Party is more in shambles than I've ever seen it before in my lifetime. I've never seen the party this divided, this broken, this exposed, this hateful, this civil war that's happening within. I have never seen this before. Ever. The Democrat Party, the victim Olympic Party that then make all of their donors and everybody that has an vested interest in it, has always been one that has worked together for the demise of the people, but for the benefit of the party. They've always had a strategy in place to make sure, okay, you know what, we're going to get this next generation. Okay, we need Obama. We losing support amongst these people. All right, so you're going to have to go ahead and get the alphabet community in order. Your defining legacy is going to be alphabet community, not black people. Okay, you know what? I see you. Clinton, all right, you know what? We going to get these jobs away, but we going to tie these people to the Democratic Party for a long time because we going to act like we actually built wealth when in reality, we mortgaged your children's future and NAFTA and allowing for all of these manufacturers to take these jobs overseas, but we going to say that you was a capitalist and that you actually benefited America. Don't worry about it. You know what? Biden, Kamala Harris. There is no rhyme or reason for why you guys are just leaving the borders open. But guess what? I think that your lasting legacy will be within the Democratic Party because it's not about how great you were. It's really about what, don't ask what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for your party. And so your lasting legacy will be to tie a long generation of people that is a part of the immigration class that came over here illegally. You guys will then be able to tie their children's children to the Democratic Party forever. And y'all gonna suffer the same fate that these people that's a part of the black community suffered by tying yourself to the Victim Olympics because you owe us for allowing you to come into this country. This is the agenda that I believe personally. I can't support this. I can't substantiate it, but this is what I believe happens. The Democrat Party is not a party of education. It's not a party of inclusion. It's not a party of diversity. It is a party of finding the next victims to then be able to support it because they can't stand on what true American principles really are. What they were trying to do for immigrants is the same thing that they did to black people. And the reason why black women at a 91, 92% clip voted for the Democrats and Kamala Harris is the same reason why they're trying to get these people over here. And it's another reason why I believe that the Republican Party is trying to get them up out of there. Why? Because why would you then allow for these people to be able to thrive, have children, and be able to survive in this country, then have these babies that's born into this country, and then they're going to tie their culture back to the Democrat Party because they're going to say that they're the ones that gave them the opportunity to be able to take advantage of what America offers. So Republicans is like, y'all got to get up out of here. Democrats is like, stay so you can be a part of the future of this party itself. So when you see these OGs, their job is to do for what the next generation is supposed to come in and do, but they got to set them up. Because when people age, as they grow, as they become more educated, as they become more informed, they then become more conservative, which even if you and your family has a long time been Democrats and say, hey, vote Democrat, you got to be conflicted about it. So when you age out and you become more educated and you realize I've been bamboozled, I've been part of the Democratic plantation for a long time, for black people it take about 200 years for them to start figuring it out. For black people, it takes us, whereas it takes other communities, because we loyal to the streets. Black people, let me remove this for a minute. Black people are loyal to the streets, man. They keep their women in the streets, they keep their men tied to their women, and they keep their children tied to the Democratic Party, even though they may be living their lives conservatively. You know why? Because the thing that it takes other people one generation, 25, 30 years to figure out, it take us 250 years, because everybody is just like the children of Israel inside of the Bible. Everybody got to die off. Nobody is going to make it to the land of milk and honey. It's just like the children of Israel. Moses, Aaron, leading them children up out of there. Hey, man, listen, y'all was just in slavery. What you sitting here complaining about? You saying that you can't not worship false idols? I can't go and talk to God for 5 minutes without coming back down here and seeing y'all busting each other down. You a bottom, you a top. You don't know which side of the church you on no more. All of a sudden, y'all start worshiping false idols. You know what? Ain't nobody that's alive in this generation going to have to be able to see the land of milk and honey. So it take for multiple generations to die off for it to eventually manifest in that community. But see, for other people, it's going to happen a lot sooner, and that's why they had to get a whole new demographic of voters. That's my theory. I know y'all don't want to have church today, and it's cool. We ain't got to do that. I can move over into the next thing. But let me tell you something, and this is what you want to, this is why your grandma and your grandfather and your aunties and your uncles and all of them need to listen to the Millionaire Morning Show, because it's not like they're going to change their minds, but I need to pierce their soul. I want them, after this live stream to go off and after we do these Millionaire Morning Shows, I want them to look within themselves and say, I'm going to still do what I want to do because I'm stubborn and I'm ignorant and I want to do what I want to do, but it don't mean that I'm not conflicted. I want them to go to sleep and be twisted and turning in their sleep about the decisions that they made and the path that they left their children, their grandchildren, and multiple generations down by pushing this bad narrative on them instead of educating them to the truth. We don't expect for you to change, but I want you to be conflicted. I want you to be bothered. I don't want you to be sleeping well at night, knowing that you led your people down the path of destruction and you knew better. You know that they tying you to this party. You know, I see women all the time, all of these aunties and uncles and all of this stuff keep talking about how sassy everybody is, but you support people going in women's bathrooms. You know that there's been hundreds of millions of babies that's been aborted as a result of trying to use this as a form of contraception. You've seen it in your own communities. You was raised around it. It's the thing that you decided that you wanted to get away from, but you sitting here talking about reproductive rights. You're not dumb. You're not dumb. You loyal to a fault. And your kids is going to be the ones that pay for the sins of their fathers. That's why I tell people all the time, you got to hold your parents accountable. You got to hold your parents accountable. But we ain't going to get there. Listen. I'm different here. I say what I want to say when I want to say it. I'm not controlled by nobody. I don't care about what anybody thinks. I'm not looking for a job from nobody. I'm going to say exactly what I believe, and I'm going to tell you what the truth is.